Okay, today we're talking about foot straps. There's so many options out there, so today we're going to break it down. What are the best foot straps for you and where do you position them on your board? So which strap to choose really depends on what you're wanting to do, what discipline you're wanting to chase and what discipline you've come from. If you're wanting to get into a bit of surf foiling, then you're probably going to want straps that are down the center line. If you're more that guy or girl that wants to go really fast, then maybe a V-strap's the one for you. That really enables you to get over the edge of your board and really, get the most power through your foil. So first type of strap we're going to cover are the North Free Foil straps. So these ones are designed to be symmetric, so you can come in from either side. So if you want to tack and jibe and go heel side both ways, these are a good option for you. So down the line straps just free you up. Everything's symmetric, so if you're wanting to wave ride, they're often the choice for people that want to wave ride. If you want to freestyle, they're often the choice, but not exclusively. Some people like to freestyle with V-straps as well. Now these particular straps are our premium straps because you can go out and ride just for hour upon hour. They've got dual density foam inside. They've got this Nick Flex material, which is pre-tensioned and laminated to the inside of the foam. So what this does is when you bend it into the shape, you don't get all this creasing underneath, which will rub on your foot and get uncomfortable. So they don't have to be made to go down the line though. If you are one of those people that actually just rides heel side and toe side the other way, you don't like tacking and jumping around and going to heel side the other way, then you could consider doing this strap offset. And so that means that your foot is always going to stay on this side and your back foot's going to be in here, and that might be the most comfortable for you. So I would recommend just playing around with it, but a good starting point as far as where you want to position it is to position it on the middle holes. And so that's just a really good starting point. And obviously for various reasons you might want to move it forward or back if your foil's not quite performing. We're going to do another video on positioning your mast, so keep an eye out for that one. I won't go into that too much. So another option we have, which is all I use now to tell the truth, is these free low straps. And so the difference with these ones are they're super lightweight and minimal, and they have the same weight when they're wet as well. They don't absorb any water, so wet and dry they're a lot lighter. So they also have super soft foam, but what these ones give you the ability to do is if you don't want to use them, then you can take your foot out and just stand on top of it. It's going to squash down really easily. So some people like to have their front foot nice and secure, and they'll sometimes take their back foot out and move that around. So that's what these ones give you, a real sort of, I guess, another dimension of freedom. So I'm just going to go ahead and screw these ones on. So the thing that makes these straps different is that I find if I'm out there and going for a session any longer than sort of 2.5 to 3 hours, they do start becoming a little bit uncomfortable. So that's the thing. I feel like these are more of a quick session strap, and I don't really tend to last much more than 3 hours on the water these days. But what I do with these straps is I put the front foot, I'm just going on the middle holes, and this is the standard spacing if you go center to center holes. So I tend to like this strap being nice and tight, especially for jumping. That's your load up and pop on the front. All right, so what I'm doing on this rear strap is I'm actually going in the outermost holes. This is just my personal favorite setup. And I'm going out one insert wider. So what this allows me to do is shuffle my back foot back and forward. So if you're wave riding, when you drop into a wave, you tend to get a lot more energy from that wave, and the foil's just wanting to lift up as you drop in. So I'll shuffle my back foot forward a bit as I'm dropping in, and then when I get out in front of the wave, then I just shift it back a bit, and so it's a little more lifty, you know. So it's nice to just have that versatility with the back. And sometimes if I'm cruising upwind, I'll take that foot out altogether and just plant my foot on top of the strap. So that's a big benefit with these free lows. Another thing to note is that these washers are actually asymmetric, and so if the adjustment between the two holes is not enough for you, then you can just spin this washer around, and that will give you sort of like an in-between hole. So a little micro adjustment. This is what you call a V-strap. It looks like a V and you have it on your front foot. So these are actually our biggest sellers. They're proving really popular, and what they allow you to do is just hold down a stack of power. So if you want to go really fast, or you know, in overpower conditions, you're going to be able to hold a lot more power because you're going to be able to get your heel further over the heel side of the board. A couple of interesting points. I mentioned you have the different spacing. So someone who's doing freestyle would probably have their fronts rather tight. We actually call these inner holes here, we added these ones for Jesse Richmond, because when he's riding jaws on his surfboards, he likes to have his straps just so tight that he knows he's not going to come out of them. So those inner holes there are the Jesse Richmond specials. But yeah, I tend to like to have my straps a little bit looser, because if I get into trouble, I know I can just kick the board off and, you know, get out of jail free. So have a play around with that, see what you prefer. We should talk about not having any straps at all, because this is definitely a lot of people's preferred method. It's probably the safest way to learn foiling. If you're not locked in, then you've got a much better opportunity to be able to kick away from the board and just get away from that foil when you're falling off. One tip I would give when you're learning is that try to jump away from the foil as soon as you know you're losing it. Don't leave it too late, because if you jump away early, you've got something to push off and get away. If you lose it too late, if you leave it too late, then you end up, that's when you can get into trouble and you don't have control over where you're falling. So what the Northboards offer is a little bit of both tactile and visual reference about where to put your feet, because there is a sweet spot for your particular rider weight. There's a sweet spot for where you stand on the board to get the foil to get the most out of the foil. So these indicators here are visual indicators, and so when you find that you've got it right, you look down at your feet and you might remember, oh, that short one is just out the front, and that just gives you a good visual representation. The other thing we have is we have this ridge at the front here, and so that's so you can feel with your toes when you're in the middle of the board. That's also a good, if you don't want to look down, you can feel when you're over that ridge, or maybe just your big toe gets over the ridge, that's your spot. So it's a handy thing. So the other visual reference is for your back foot. So this is why we break the pad up into different colors. So you can tell maybe you have your foot dead centered, you know, over the black and the dark gray. It's just another good little check. If you don't have a strap which is dictating where to put your feet, then that's a good visual cue for you. So just to wrap it up, if you're new to straps, the best thing to do is to run them loose. If you're just getting used to them, having them loose allows you the ability to just kick out and get away from the board when you need to. I know people who mix it up. They use like a really supportive front strap, like the free foil strap on the front, and they use something with a bit more maneuverability, like the free low strap on the rear. But what's your setup? Let us know in the comments below, and look forward to seeing you in the next one.